My parents didn't give me less at graduation. They humiliated me. The envelope felt thin, translucent under the MIT Kresge auditorium lights. Inside, a $15 bill. My sister opened hers beside me. $150,000 cashier's check, Bank of America logo gleaming. Mom leaned in. Be grateful you got anything. 43 relatives watched. My aunt filmed the whole thing. 2 hours later, I stood at my car, that envelope still in my gown pocket. The check, my only graduation gift after 4 years of loans, wouldn't cover gas home. My sister's check bought her a condo. My aunt posted the video. 890,000 views by morning. Every person at that ceremony saw my parents' faces when I opened $15. Then my father's law firm partners started calling. The email arrived at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in early spring. I'd been awake for 17 minutes, staring at my phone from my dorm bed, refreshing my inbox every 30 seconds. MIT decisions dropped at 6:45. I knew because I'd checked Reddit obsessively for weeks. Subject line: Your MIT decision is ready. My hands shook so violently I nearly dropped the phone. 4 years of 4 GPAs, 3 research publications, 16-hour days juggling AP classes and 2 part-time jobs. All for this moment. I opened the email. Congratulations, Lena. I didn't read further. Couldn't. My vision blurred with tears. I'd been holding back since junior year. I'd done it. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Full ride scholarship. $58,000 per year. The words on the screen felt unreal. I called home at 6:51 a.m. Dad answered on the 5th ring, voice thick with sleep. Lena? It's not even 7. I got in. My voice cracked. MIT, full scholarship. Silence. Not the good kind. Not the stunned, overcome with pride kind. The awkward, waiting for the right response kind. That's nice, honey. Dad cleared his throat. Your mother's still sleeping. We'll call you back later, okay? The line went dead. I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to dial tone. Nice, he'd said nice, like I'd told him I'd found a parking spot or gotten a B on a quiz. I'd gotten into MIT, and he'd said nice. I tried to shake it off. They were tired. It was early. They'd be excited later, when it sank in. I opened my laptop and started drafting celebratory texts to relatives. My fingers hovered over my parents' names in my contacts. Then my phone buzzed. Group text. Family chat. Mom. Everyone, Vanessa has big news. 3 exclamation points. I opened the thread. Vanessa, my older sister, 28, perfectly polished in every family photo, had posted a picture. Her left hand. A diamond ring the size of a marble catching sunlight. Derek proposed. We're engaged. The family chat exploded. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. 47 messages in 3 minutes. Congratulations. So beautiful. When's the wedding? We're so proud. Mom's response came at 7:02 a.m. Emergency family celebration tonight. Everyone come to the house at 6 p.m. We're throwing Vanessa a surprise party. I stared at the screen. Emergency celebration. I scrolled up. My message about MIT sat 3 lines above Vanessa's engagement announcement. Got into MIT with a full ride. Posted at 6:52 a.m. 0 responses. Not one. At 7:15, I called Mom directly. It rang 4 times before she picked up, breathless and laughing. Lena, honey, can I call you back? We're planning Vanessa's party and I'm at the bakery ordering a cake. I got into MIT, Mom. Oh, right. Dad mentioned that. That's wonderful, sweetheart. Listen, can you make it tonight? 6 o'clock. Vanessa doesn't know yet, so don't spoil it. Did you hear what I said? Of course I did. MIT. Very impressive. But Lena, your sister's getting married. This is huge for the family. Huge for the family. I'll try to make it tonight, I said. I didn't. Instead, I sat in my dorm room and watched the family group chat fill with photos from Vanessa's surprise party. 200 images. Mom had ordered a 3-tier cake. Dad had bought champagne. My aunts and uncles held signs reading, "Congratulations, Vanessa." 43 people showed up. For an engagement that would lead to a wedding a year and a half away, I refreshed my MIT acceptance email and read it 12 times before I could convince myself it was real. That night, I remembered something Dad had said when I was 10 years old. We'd been sitting on the back porch after I'd won my first science fair. He'd ruffled my hair and smiled. "You're going to do incredible things, Lena. And when you do, we'll celebrate your success like royalty." I'd believed him. I shouldn't have. I fell asleep that night with my phone next to my pillow, volume on high, waiting for a call that never came. The next morning, I received a single text from Mom. "Sorry we missed you at the party. Hope you're doing well. Love you." No mention of MIT. No follow-up questions. No pride. Just an afterthought at the end of a text about missing a party I'd never been asked to help plan. I screenshotted my acceptance letter and set it as my phone wallpaper. If they weren't going to celebrate it, I would. Every day. For 4 years. But there was something I'd noticed that morning. Something that wouldn't leave my mind. When I'd called Mom at 7:15, I'd heard Dad's voice in the background. He'd been on the phone with someone, his tone sharp. "No, the payment didn't go through. I'll handle it tomorrow." Then Mom had shushed him. At the time, I'd dismissed it. Parents had bills, financial stress was normal. But later, scrolling through the party photos, I noticed something else. Mom's purse on the kitchen counter. Open. A credit card on the granite Capital One, silver and blue. I zoomed in on the photo. The name on the card was partially visible. L. Chen. Not Linda Chen. Lena Chen. I told myself I was seeing things. The photo was blurry. It could have been anything. But that night, I couldn't sleep. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a small, terrible voice whispered, "Check your credit report." I didn't listen. Not yet. The favoritism didn't start with MIT. It started the day Vanessa was born. I was 6 when Mom brought her home from the hospital, a squirming pink bundle wrapped in expensive blankets. Everyone cooed. Grandparents flew in from Seattle. Dad took 2 weeks off work. When I was born, he'd taken 3 days. Mom reminded me of this once, laughing, like it was charming. "You were easy, Lena." Vanessa needed us more. That became the pattern. Vanessa needed more. Vanessa got more. When I turned 10, my birthday party was at our house, boxed cake, 8 friends, dollar store decorations. When Vanessa turned 10, Mom rented a venue, 50 guests, a magician, goodie bags that cost more than my entire party. "Vanessa's more social," Mom explained when I asked why. "You prefer smaller gatherings." I didn't. But I nodded. At 13, I wanted to take piano lessons. Mom said it wasn't in the budget. 6 months later, Vanessa started violin. Private instructor, $120 per session. "Vanessa has natural talent," Dad said. "We don't want to waste it." At 16, I needed a prom dress. Mom handed me $60 and told me to find something nice at Target. I did a clearance rack special, $32, slightly torn at the hem. I sewed it myself. Vanessa's prom dress cost $800. Custom fitted, designer label. "It's her senior prom, Lena. It's special." Mine hadn't been special. I didn't complain. Complaining made me difficult. So I smiled. I said thank you. I pretended it didn't hollow me out from the inside. But I kept score. By the time I graduated high school, the tally was unignorable. Vanessa's college, $160,000 across 4 years at UC Berkeley. Room, board, tuition, books, fully funded by Mom and Dad. My college, $0 from them. Financial aid, scholarships, and $47,000 in federal loans. "You're so independent, Lena," Mom said when I asked why they couldn't help. "You've always been self-sufficient. Vanessa needs more support." Self-sufficient. That was the word she used to justify leaving me to fend for myself. So I did. At MIT, I worked 30 hours a week across 2 jobs, library assistant and campus IT support. I survived on ramen, peanut butter sandwiches, and vending machine coffee. I slept 4 to 5 hours a night because there weren't enough hours in the day to work, study, and stay sane. I graduated summa cum laude, published 3 research papers, won the Departmental Award for Academic Excellence. Vanessa graduated with a 2.9 gigapascals in communications and a job lined up at Dad's friend's marketing firm. Mom framed Vanessa's diploma and hung it in the living room. Mine stayed in the envelope it was mailed in. When Vanessa got engaged, the wedding planning started immediately. Budget: $150,000. Venue: Oceanside. Guest list: 300 people. I didn't ask how they were paying for it. I already knew the answer. Not me. Never me. In March of my senior year at MIT, I sent graduation announcements to my family, printed on cardstock. Calligraphy I'd paid a classmate to do. Ceremony date, May 18th. Location: MIT Kresge Auditorium. RSVP by April 15th. April 15th came and went. No RSVP. I called Mom on April 20th. "Oh, honey, we got the invitation. It's beautiful." Her voice was distracted, papers rustling in the background. "We're just figuring out logistics. Vanessa's dress fitting is that same week and it's been so hard to coordinate. Can you come or not?" Silence. "We'll do our best, Lena. You know we love you." "That's not what I asked." "We'll let you know." She hung up. They never let me know. On May 10th, 8 days before my graduation, I texted both of them. "Are you coming?" Dad responded 3 hours later. "We'll try." Mom didn't respond at all. I stopped asking. The week before graduation, I worked 60 hours between my jobs to save money for cap and gown rental. I had $17 left after paying rent. I bought a purple dress from Target for $12. It fit poorly. I didn't care. On May 17th, the night before my graduation, I lay in my dorm bed and tried to remember the last time my parents had said they were proud of me. I couldn't. Vanessa posted on Instagram that night a photo of her engagement ring, caption: "1 month until I marry my best friend. Parents of the Year award goes to Mom and Dad for making this dream wedding happen." 2,000 likes. I turned my phone off and cried into my pillow until my throat ached. The next morning, I woke up at 6 a.m., put on the purple dress, pinned my honor cords to my gown gold for summa cum laude, read for research excellence. I walked to Kresge Auditorium alone. And I saved 2 seats in the front row, just in case. Graduation morning felt like moving through water. I couldn't eat. My hands shook while I pinned the honor cords to my gown gold for summa cum laude, red for departmental excellence. The purple Target dress underneath cost $12. I'd ironed it 3 times to get the clearance rack wrinkles out. In the mirror, I looked like I belonged. Cap, gown, cords. I didn't feel like I belonged. MIT Kresge Auditorium was already filling when I arrived at 9 a.m. Families clustered in groups, taking photos, laughing. Fathers adjusted their sons' caps. Mothers cried and fixed their daughters' hair. I walked past them alone. Inside, I found my assigned section, row 3, seat 22. I sat down and stared at the 2 empty seats I'd reserved in the family section. Seat 14. Seat 15. Front row, directly in my line of sight. Other families surrounded them. A father in a suit leaning over to kiss his daughter's cheek. A mother holding a bouquet of sunflowers. Grandparents clutching programs, beaming. Seats 14 and 15 stayed empty. The ceremony started at 10 a.m. I didn't hear the opening remarks. Didn't hear the dean's speech. I kept glancing at those 2 empty seats, willing them to fill. They didn't. By the time my row stood to walk across the stage, I'd stopped looking. My name echoed through the auditorium. Lena Marie Chen, Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Engineering, summa cum laude. Applause, polite, generic. I crossed the stage, shook the dean's hand, accepted my diploma. The photographer's camera flashed. I smiled. It felt like glass breaking in my chest. I walked off the stage and returned to my seat. Around me, graduates hugged each other, wiping tears. I sat down and folded my hands in my lap. The ceremony ended at 11:30 a.m. Families flooded the lawn outside balloons, flowers, champagne. I stood under an oak tree near the parking lot and watched them. A girl from my dorm was sobbing in her father's arms. Another graduate was kissing her mother's cheek while her siblings held a congratulatory banner. I checked my phone. 0 messages. At 11:47, I heard my name. Lena! I turned. Mom, Dad, and Vanessa were walking toward me. Mom wore a cream-colored dress. Dad wore a polo shirt. Vanessa looked annoyed, scrolling on her phone. They'd come. Relief hit me so hard I almost stumbled. "You made it," I said, voice cracking. "Of course we made it." Mom's smile was tight. "Traffic was terrible, though. We missed the ceremony." "The ceremony. You missed," I stopped. Swallowed. "You missed the whole thing?" "We tried, honey." Dad patted my shoulder. "But Vanessa had a dress fitting this morning and it ran late. You understand." I looked at Vanessa. She didn't look up from her phone. "Congratulations, though," Mom said brightly. "We're so proud. Here, we brought you something." She reached into her purse and pulled out 2 envelopes. One for me, one for Vanessa. "We wanted to give you both graduation gifts," Mom said. "Vanessa just finished her executive coaching program last month, so we thought, well, open them." Vanessa opened hers first. Her eyes widened. She pulled out a check. Bank of America, official, printed. $150,000. "Oh my God." Vanessa's voice was breathless. "Mom, Dad, this is for your down payment, sweetie." Dad grinned. "You and Derek deserve a beautiful home." Vanessa hugged them both, squealing. I stood there, envelope in my hand. "Go on, Lena," Mom said. "Open yours." I did. Inside was a single bill. $15. Not a check, not a card. A crumpled $15 bill that looked like it had been pulled from someone's wallet at the last second. I stared at it. "We know it's not much," Mom said, voice syrupy. "But we figured you could grab lunch with friends. Celebrate a little." I looked up at her. She was smiling. "Be grateful you got anything," she added. "Vanessa needs a down payment, you understand." 43 relatives were standing within earshot. My Aunt Jessica was filming on her phone, probably trying to capture a sweet graduation moment. She got it. Just not the kind Mom expected. I looked at the $15 bill in my hand, then at Vanessa's $150,000 check. 4 years of 30-hour work weeks, 4 years of ramen and sleepless nights, 4 years of loans I'd be paying off for a decade. $15. "Say thank you, Lena," Dad said. I couldn't speak. My throat had closed. Vanessa tucked her check into her purse, still grinning. She didn't look at me, didn't acknowledge the obscenity of the disparity. She just kissed Mom's cheek and said, "This is the best day ever." Mom beamed. Dad checked his phone. And I stood there, holding $15 under an oak tree at MIT, surrounded by my family and 43 relatives who were pretending not to notice. My Aunt Jessica's phone was still recording. She didn't stop. I folded the $15 bill and put it in my pocket. My hands were shaking so violently I almost dropped it. "Thank you," I whispered. "Because that's what good daughters do. They say thank you, even when their parents hand them humiliation wrapped in a crumpled bill." I drove back to Boston the next morning. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't hug anyone. Just left. The $15 bill sat in my cup holder. I couldn't bring myself to spend it. Couldn't bring myself to throw it away either. Evidence, some part of me whispered. Evidence of what? I didn't know yet. My apartment was a studio in Allston 4th floor, no elevator, $1,200 a month. I'd signed the lease 3 weeks earlier, using my last paycheck and a prayer. The place was empty, except for an air mattress, a folding chair, and a lamp I'd found on the curb. I sat on the air mattress and stared at the wall. My phone buzzed. Group text. Family chat. Vanessa had posted photos from graduation day, 12 of them. Her opening the check, Mom hugging her, Dad grinning, the three of them posing under the oak tree. 0 photos of me. The caption, "Best parents ever. Thank you for everything." I turned my phone off. 3 days passed. I worked my IT support shift, ate ramen, avoided phone calls from relatives who'd been at graduation and were probably trying to ask if I was okay. I wasn't okay, but I was functional. That counted for something. On the third night of Thursday, I was brushing my teeth when my phone buzzed on the sink. Email notification. Capital One. Account alert. I frowned. I didn't have a Capital One card. I'd applied once in sophomore year and been rejected for insufficient credit history. I opened the email. New account activity detected on your Capital One Platinum card ending in 4782. My hands froze. I didn't have a Platinum card. I clicked the link. It prompted me to log in. I didn't have login credentials because I didn't have an account. But there was a forgot password option. I clicked it, entered my email. Reset link sent. My stomach turned. If I could reset the password, that meant my email was tied to this account. An account I'd never opened. I clicked the reset link, created a new password, logged in. The screen loaded. Account summary. Current balance. $8,412.37. My vision blurred. $8,000. I scrolled down. Transaction history. Pages of it. April 14th. Bridal Elegance Boutique. $4,100. April 3rd. Tiffany & Co. $2,890. March 28th. Island Dreams Travel. $1,422. My throat closed. I knew those charges. Vanessa's wedding dress, her engagement ring, the honeymoon deposit. I clicked Account Details. Primary cardholder, Linda M. Chen. Authorized user, Lena M. Chen. Billing address, my parents' home address. Account opened, November 18th. 18 months ago. My hand started shaking so hard I dropped my phone. It clattered onto the bathroom tile. I stared at it. Then I picked it up and logged into my credit report, something I'd avoided doing because I'd been terrified of what my student loans had done to my score. TransUnion loaded first. Credit score, 512. 512. I scrolled down. 3 accounts I didn't recognize. Capital One Platinum. Opened November, 18 months ago. Balance. $8,412. Wells Fargo Personal Loan. Opened January, 14 months ago. Balance. $3,200. Chase Freedom. Opened March, 11 months ago. Balance. $2,800. Total fraudulent debt. $14,412. Plus inquiries. 7 hard inquiries on my credit in 18 months. All from accounts I'd never opened. I sat on the bathroom floor, back against the tub, phone in my lap. My mother's name was on every account. Linda M. Chen. Primary cardholder. Co-signer. Authorized user. She'd used my name. My social security number. My identity. For 18 months. To pay for Vanessa's wedding. I thought about the $15 bill in my cup holder. I thought about the $150,000 check Vanessa had tucked into her purse. And I realized something that made my chest crack open. They hadn't just neglected me. They'd stolen from me. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on my air mattress with my laptop and printed every transaction, every statement, every fraudulent account detail. 47 pages by 4 a.m. At 6 a.m., I called my bank. Froze my credit. Filed fraud alerts with all 3 bureaus. At 7 a.m., I texted my best friend Rachel. "Can I come over? I need to tell you something." She responded in 30 seconds. Doors open. Rachel Park had been my roommate sophomore year, a pre-law student with a sharp mind and sharper instincts. She'd graduated a year ahead of me and was working as a paralegal in downtown Boston. She opened her apartment door at 8 a.m. holding 2 mugs of coffee. "You look like death," she said. "I feel like it." She handed me a mug and sat across from me on her couch. "Talk." I did. For 20 minutes, I walked her through everything. The graduation, the $15, the credit alert, the $14,412 in fraudulent debt. When I finished, Rachel was silent. Then, she stood, walked to her desk, and pulled out a yellow legal pad. "Okay," she said. "Let's do this properly." She sat back down and clicked her pen. "First question. Do you have documentation?" I pulled the printed statements from my bag. 47 pages. I spread them on her coffee table. Rachel picked up the Capital One statement. "Read it." Her jaw tightened. "Lena, this is identity theft." "I know." "No, I don't think you do." She looked up at me. "This isn't family drama. This is a federal crime. Your mother forged your identity to open credit accounts. That's wire fraud. That's prosecutable." My hands started shaking again. "She's my mother. She's a criminal." Rachel's voice was sharp. "And she used you as a credit line for your sister's wedding?" I stared at the statements. Bridal Elegance Boutique, $4,100. I'd seen that dress. Vanessa had posted 12 photos of it on Instagram. Lace and tulle and hand-sewn beading. I'd worn a $12 Target dress. "Keep going," Rachel said. "What else?" I pulled up the Wells Fargo statement on my phone. The personal loan. This one was opened in January. 14 months ago. $3,200 borrowed. Rachel took my phone. Scrolled. Stopped. "The billing address is your parents' house. But look at the application signature." She zoomed in. A scanned signature, cursive, looped. Linda M. Chen. But underneath it, in smaller text, co-applicant, Lena M. Chen. "She forged your signature," Rachel said quietly. I felt sick. How did she even get my social security number? "You're her daughter. She's had access to your documents since you were born. Birth certificate, social security card, tax forms, she could have photocopied them years ago." I thought back to high school. The FAFSA forms I'd filled out for college. Mom had insisted on helping me. She'd taken my social security card to make a copy for her records. I'd never gotten it back. "Jesus," I whispered. Rachel set my phone down and picked up another statement. Chase Freedom. Opened in March. This one's smaller, $2,800. But look at the charges. I looked. March 30th. Island Dreams Travel, $1,800. Honeymoon upgrade. April 2nd. Nordstrom, $650. Bridesmaid dresses. April 10th. Wine and Roses Catering, $350. Tasting menu deposit. Every single charge was wedding-related. Every single charge was for Vanessa. Rachel set the statement down and leaned back. "Lena, I need you to hear me. This isn't just about money. This is about your future." "What do you mean?" "Your credit score is 512. That's subprime. Do you know what that means?" I shook my head. "It means you can't get approved for apartments, car loans, mortgages. Some jobs run credit checks. If you apply anywhere in finance or government, they'll see this and assume you're irresponsible. You'll be denied." My stomach dropped. But I didn't do anything. I know that, but the credit bureaus don't. Not yet. Right now, as far as they're concerned, you're $14,000 in debt, and you haven't made a single payment. I pressed my hands to my face. "How do I fix this?" "You report it. File a police report. Dispute the accounts. Possibly press charges. I looked up. Press charges? Against my mother? Rachel's expression didn't soften. Yes, against your mother. Because if you don't, you're going to spend the next decade paying for Vanessa's wedding. I thought about the $15 bill in my car. I thought about Mom's voice. Be grateful you got anything. She knew, I said quietly. When she gave me that $15, she knew I'd find out eventually. She just didn't care. Rachel nodded. So what are you going to do? I looked at the 47 pages spread across the coffee table. Bridal Elegance. Tiffany & Co. Island Dreams Travel. My name on every account. My future stolen to pay for Vanessa's dream wedding. I'm going to talk to a lawyer, I said. Rachel smiled. Good. I know someone. Rachel made the call while I sat on her couch, staring at the statements. Mark Morrison. He specializes in identity theft cases. I worked with him on a case last year. He's sharp and he doesn't mess around. She handed me her phone. He can see you tomorrow. 10 a.m. I nodded. That night, I went home and couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the timeline. November. 18 months ago. That was Thanksgiving of my junior year. I pulled out my laptop and opened my photo library. Scrolled back. Thanksgiving. I'd gone home for 4 days. Rare, because I usually worked over breaks. I found the photos. Vanessa and Derek at the dinner table. Mom carving turkey. Dad pouring wine. And me, in the background of one shot, laughing at something my uncle said. I looked happy. I'd had no idea. I scrolled further. Found a photo from that weekend Vanessa showing off her new ring. Derek had proposed 2 weeks earlier. The engagement was still fresh. Mom had pulled me aside that weekend. Lena, honey, I need you to update your information for our family insurance policy. Just a formality. She'd handed me a form. I'd filled it out. Name. Date of birth. Social security number. I'd signed it. She'd taken it and smiled. Thanks, sweetie. This helps us keep everything organized. I'd thought nothing of it. 2 weeks later, the first Capital One account was opened. I sat back. Nauseous. She'd planned it. The form, the timing, the signature. She'd stolen my identity at Thanksgiving dinner. I opened a new document and started writing. A timeline. November 18 months ago. Home for Thanksgiving. Mom asks me to fill out insurance form. Actually collected my SSN and signature. Capital One Platinum opened 2 weeks later. First charge, $1,200, wedding venue deposit. December. 17 months ago. Mom calls, asks if I've been having any credit issues. I say no. She says, good, just checking. Now I realize she was testing if I'd noticed. January 14 months ago. Wells Fargo personal loan opened $3,200. Charges. Photographer deposit, $2,000. Florist retainer, $800. Mom calls asking for my current address for tax forms. I give it to her. She used it for billing address. March. 11 months ago. Chase Freedom opened $2,800. Charges. Honeymoon upgrade, bridesmaid dresses, catering. Spring break. I don't go home working, double shifts. Mom texts, we miss you. Hope you're not working too hard. April, May, 10 to 9 months ago. Charges continue across all 3 accounts. Total, $14,412. I receive 0 communication about payments, statements, or balances. All mail sent to parents' house. May, 9 months ago, graduation. Parents give Vanessa $150K. Parents give me $15. I discover fraud 3 days later. By the time I finished, it was 2 a.m. 18 months. 18 months of systematic fraud. And the worst part? I'd helped her. Every time she'd asked for my information, I'd given it, because she was my mother. I thought about all the times she'd called during those 18 months. How are you, honey? Everything going okay? Any problems with bills or anything? She hadn't been checking on me. She'd been checking to see if I'd noticed. I closed my laptop and lay on my air mattress. Stared at the ceiling. My phone buzzed. Group text. Family chat. Vanessa. Only 8 weeks until the big day. Mom and Dad, you're literally the best. I couldn't do this without you. I looked at the message. Thought about the $14,412 in charges. Every cent spent on Vanessa's wedding. Every cent stolen from my name. I opened my texts and started typing a response. Then stopped. Deleted it. Not yet. Not like this. I needed a plan. I needed evidence. And I needed them to understand exactly what they'd done. The next morning, I put on the only professional outfit I owned, a pencil skirt and blouse I'd bought for job interviews, and took the T to Mark Morrison's office. Rachel met me outside, handed me a coffee. You ready? I looked at the 47 pages of evidence in my bag. Yeah, I said. Let's go. Mark Morrison's office was downtown, 20th floor, glass walls and leather chairs. I felt out of place the moment I walked in. Rachel squeezed my hand. You belong here. Remember that. The receptionist led us to a conference room. Mark was already inside mid-50s, graying at the temples, reading glasses perched on his nose. He stood when we entered. Lena Chen? He extended his hand. Mark Morrison. Rachel speaks highly of you. I shook his hand. Thank you for seeing me. Of course, please, sit. I sat. Pulled out the 47 pages of evidence and spread them on the table. Mark picked up the first page, the Capital One statement. He read in silence for 2 minutes. Then he looked up. How old are you, Lena? 22. And when did you discover these accounts? 3 days ago. He nodded slowly. Set the statement down. Picked up another. Wells Fargo personal loan. Then the Chase Freedom Card. He went through every page. Methodical, quiet. Rachel and I sat in silence. Finally, Mark leaned back in his chair and removed his glasses. This is one of the clearest cases of identity theft I've seen in 15 years. My chest tightened. Really? Your mother's name is on every application. Her signature is forged on documents. The billing address is her residence, not yours. The charges are itemized wedding vendors, luxury purchases. None of it benefits you. He tapped the Capital One statement. This alone is prosecutable. Federal wire fraud, identity theft under Massachusetts law. You could press criminal charges. The room tilted. Criminal charges. Against my mother. What would that mean? I asked quietly. It means filing a police report. The district attorney's office would review the evidence. If they decide to prosecute, your mother could face felony charges. Penalties range from fines to prison time, depending on the amount stolen and her criminal history. Prison time. I thought about Mom at graduation. The cream-colored dress, the tight smile. Be grateful you got anything. What's the alternative? Rachel asked. Civil lawsuit. Sue for damages the $14,412 in fraudulent debt, plus credit repair costs, legal fees, and emotional distress. You'd likely win. Courts don't look kindly on parents who steal their children's identities. Mark leaned forward. But here's what I need you to understand, Lena. If you don't take action, criminal or civil, you'll be liable for this debt. Creditors will come after you. Your wages could be garnished. Your credit will remain destroyed for years. How long to fix it? I asked. With a police report and fraud disputes, 12 to 18 months minimum. That's if everything goes smoothly. 18 months. The same amount of time Mom had been stealing from me. There's another option, Mark said carefully. You could confront your parents privately. Demand they pay off the debt and close the accounts. No legal action. Keeps it in the family. Rachel scoffed. They gave her $15 at graduation while giving her sister $150,000. You think they'll suddenly do the right thing? Mark didn't answer. I looked at the statements on the table. $4,100 for a wedding dress. $2,890 for an engagement ring. $1,422 for a honeymoon upgrade. All charged to my name while I worked 30-hour weeks and survived on ramen. I want to press charges, I said. Mark studied me. Are you sure? This will destroy your relationship with your family. Possibly permanently. They already destroyed it, I said. I'm just making it official. Rachel smiled. Mark nodded and pulled out a legal pad. Then let's begin. Mark spent the next 40 minutes walking me through the process. First step, file a police report. You'll go to your local precinct. Alston. District 14 station then. Bring all of this documentation. He gestured to the statements. Ask for the financial crimes unit. They'll assign a detective. What do I say? Tell them exactly what you told me. Your mother opened fraudulent accounts using your identity. You discovered them after graduation. You want to press charges. He made it sound simple. It didn't feel simple. What happens after I file the report? The detective will investigate. Interview your mother, likely. Subpoena bank records. If the evidence supports your claim, and it absolutely does, they'll forward the case to the DA's office. How long does that take? Weeks to months. Financial crimes aren't prioritized unless the amount stolen is significant. $14,000 is borderline. But the fact that it's identity theft, specifically parental identity theft, will get attention. I nodded, trying to absorb everything. While the criminal case proceeds, Mark continued, you'll need to dispute the accounts with the credit bureaus. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. I'll draft the letters for you. You'll also need to close the fraudulent accounts. Can I do that? Yes. Once you file the police report, you have legal standing. Call each creditor, provide the case number, and request immediate account closure. They'll investigate internally. Rachel was taking notes on her phone. What about the debt? She asked. Does Lena have to pay it while this is being resolved? No. Once she files fraud claims, the accounts are frozen. Creditors can't pursue collection. However, he looked at me. If your mother contests the fraud claim and says you authorized the accounts, it becomes a he said, she said situation. My stomach dropped. She could lie? She could try, but the evidence is overwhelmingly in your favor. Your signatures don't match. You were living in Boston while the accounts were opened in her home. The charges are all wedding-related, none benefit you. Any judge would see through it. He pulled out a business card and slid it across the table. This is my direct line. After you file the police report, call me. We'll discuss next steps, civil suit, restraining order if needed, credit monitoring. Restraining order. Against my parents. The thought felt surreal. How much will this cost? I asked quietly. Mark hesitated. For the criminal case, nothing. The state prosecutes. For a civil suit, my retainer is $5,000. But he held up a hand before I could panic. I work on contingency for cases like this. If we win, I take a percentage of the judgment. You don't pay up front. Relief washed over me. Why are you doing this? I asked. Mark's expression softened. Because I have a daughter your age. If someone did this to her, I'd want her to have someone in her corner. He stood. You deserve better than $15, Lena. Let's make sure you get it. Rachel and I left the office at 11:30 a.m. We stood on the sidewalk, sun beating down, the sounds of downtown Boston rushing around us. You okay? Rachel asked. I thought about it. Criminal charges, police reports, lawyers. My mother could go to prison. Yeah, I said. I'm okay. Rachel linked her arm through mine. Good, because we've got work to do. The District 14 police station smelled like burnt coffee and cleaning solution. I walked up to the front desk at 2 p.m., 47 pages of evidence in a folder. I need to file a report, I said. Identity theft. The officer behind the desk, a middle-aged woman with tired eyes, looked up. How much was stolen? Over $14,000. Her expression shifted. She picked up a phone. Financial Crimes Unit. Give me 10 minutes. I sat in a plastic chair and waited. 15 minutes later, a detective appeared. Tall, early 40s, badge clipped to his belt. Lena Chen? I stood. Yes. Detective Harris, come with me. He led me to a small office. Gray walls, cluttered desk, a computer that looked 20 years old. Sit. Tell me what happened. I did. For 30 minutes, I walked him through everything. The graduation, the credit alert, the 18-month timeline, the forged signatures. Detective Harris took notes by hand, occasionally stopping me to ask questions. Your mother's full name? Linda Marie Chen. Her address? I gave it. And you're sure you didn't authorize these accounts? I didn't even know they existed until 3 days ago. He nodded, flipped through the statements I'd brought. This is pretty cut and dry, he said. Your mother's name is on everything. We'll open a case. I'll contact the creditors, verify the signatures, interview your mother. What do I do in the meantime? Freeze your credit if you haven't already. Dispute the accounts. Don't contact your mother, let us handle it. What if she denies it? Then we compare signatures, pull application records. Banks keep everything. If she forged your signature, we'll know. He handed me a case number on a yellow slip of paper. Case #2 to 4,471. Keep this. You'll need it for the credit bureaus. I folded it carefully and put it in my wallet. How long will this take? Couple months. Minimum. Financial crimes move slow. But based on what I'm seeing here, he tapped the folder. This'll go to the DA. Your mother committed identity theft. That's a felony in Massachusetts. Felony. The word felt heavy. Thank you, I said quietly. Detective Harris stood, shook my hand. You did the right thing. A lot of people don't report family. But theft is theft, no matter who does it. I left the station at 3:30 p.m. Sat in my car, in the parking lot. Stared at the yellow slip of paper. Case #2 to 4,471. My mother was now a criminal case number. I called Rachel. It's done, I said. I filed the report. Good. What's next? Credit bureaus. I need to dispute all 3 accounts. I'll help. Come over tonight. We'll draft the letters together. That evening, Rachel and I sat at her kitchen table with her laptop and a bottle of wine. She pulled up templates for fraud dispute letters. We need to send one to each bureau, she said. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. Include the police case number, copies of the statements, and a signed affidavit that you didn't open these accounts. I nodded, taking notes. What about the creditors? Call them tomorrow. Capital One, Wells Fargo, Chase. Give them the case number. Request immediate account closure and fraud investigation. She typed as she talked, filling in the template with my information. By 9 p.m., we had 3 letters drafted. By 10 p.m., they were printed, signed, and sealed in envelopes. Mail these tomorrow, Rachel said. Certified mail. You want proof they received them. What happens after that? They investigate. Usually takes 30 to 60 days. If they find fraud, which they will, the accounts get removed from your credit report. Your score will recover. I looked at the envelopes. 3 letters that could rebuild my future. Thank you, I said, for all of this. Rachel poured more wine into my glass. You don't have to thank me. You're my best friend. And besides, she grinned. I really want to see your mom's face when the cops show up. I laughed. For the first time in days, I laughed. There's one more thing, I said. What? Vanessa's wedding is in 8 weeks. Rachel's eyes lit up. You're going. I'm going. And you're bringing evidence. Every single page. Rachel raised her glass. To justice. I clinked mine against hers. To justice. But in my mind, I was already planning. The wedding was August 12th, Riverside Country Club. 200 guests. My parents would be there. Vanessa would be there. And so would I. With 47 pages of evidence and a microphone. They wanted me to be grateful? I'd show them gratitude. 6 weeks until the wedding. I circled August 12th on my calendar in red marker. Then I started planning. Rachel came over on a Saturday morning with coffee and her laptop. Okay, she said, sitting cross-legged on my air mattress. Walk me through what you're thinking. I pulled out my notebook. I'd been writing in it every night for 2 weeks. The reception is at Riverside Country Club. Starts at 6 p.m., dinner at 7, toasts at 8. You're going to speak during toasts? Yes. Rachel nodded slowly. Bold. I like it. What are you going to say? The truth. I flipped to a page covered in bullet points. I'm going to name the crime. State the dollar amount. Show the evidence. In front of everyone? 200 guests, including Dad's law firm partners, Mom's church friends, every relative who was at graduation. Rachel grinned. This is going to be nuclear. Good. She opened her laptop. Let's talk logistics. How are you getting the evidence there? USB drive. I'll ask the venue coordinator if I can use the projector for a special toast. They won't question it. What if your parents try to stop you? They won't have time. I'll be at the microphone before they realize what's happening. Rachel typed notes. What about an exit strategy? I paused. What do you mean? Lena, you're about to blow up your family in front of 200 people. Your parents will lose it, maybe violently. You need a way out. I hadn't thought about that. I'll park near the exit, I said slowly. Keys in my pocket. I'll leave immediately after. Good. I'm coming with you. Rachel. Non-negotiable. You need backup. Also, someone needs to film this. I stared at her. Film it? Hell yes. You think I'm letting this happen without documentation? Your aunt filmed the graduation humiliation. We're filming the reckoning. Despite everything, I smiled. Okay, you're in. Rachel pulled up a shared Google Doc. Let's write your speech. We spent the next 3 hours drafting. It needed to be short, factual, devastating. By noon, we had it. The speech, draft 4. I'm not here to toast. I'm here to expose identity theft. My mother, Lena Chen, opened 3 fraudulent credit accounts in my name over the past 18 months. She stole $14,412. She forged my signature. She used my identity to pay for this wedding. While I worked 30-hour weeks at MIT and survived on ramen, she was charging wedding dresses and honeymoon upgrades to my credit. I filed a police report 3 weeks ago. Case number 2025 to 4471. Detective Harris is investigating. My attorney, Mark Morrison, is here tonight. Mom, Dad, you gave Vanessa $150,000 at graduation. You gave me $15 and told me to be grateful. I'm grateful now. Grateful I found out who you really are. Enjoy the reception. I hope it was worth $14,412 of my future. Rachel read it 3 times. This is perfect, she said quietly. It's nuclear and you can't argue with it. I saved the document. 5 weeks until the wedding. Over the next month, I prepared like I was going to war. I printed the evidence, 47 pages, color-coded, spiral-bound. I created a PowerPoint, 19 slides. Each one showed a different fraudulent charge with my mother's signature. I practiced the speech in front of my mirror 20 times until I could say it without crying. I bought a black suit from Goodwill. Professional. Serious. Nothing they could dismiss. I confirmed my RSVP to the wedding, mailed it with a handwritten note. Can't wait to celebrate Vanessa's special day. Mom texted back. So glad you're coming, honey. Let's put graduation behind us. I didn't respond. 2 weeks before the wedding, Detective Harris called. We interviewed your mother. My heart stopped. What did she say? She denied everything. Said you must have opened the accounts and forgot. I laughed bitterly. Did you show her the signatures? We did. She claimed you gave her permission to use your identity for family financial planning. That's a lie. We know. We pulled the original applications. The handwriting analysis came back. It's her signature, not yours. We're forwarding the case to the DA next week. What happens then? They decide whether to prosecute. But Lena, this is a slam dunk. Your mother's going to be charged. I thanked him and hung up. Mom was going to be charged. And she still had no idea I was coming to the wedding. 1 week before August 12th, Rachel and I did a final rehearsal. She set up her phone on a tripod in her living room. I stood in front of it and delivered the speech. When I finished, Rachel was crying. That's the one, she whispered. That's the one that ends them. I nodded. 6 days. I woke up at 6 a.m. on August 12th. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror and stared at myself. Black suit. White blouse. Hair pulled back. No makeup except mascara. I looked like I was going to a funeral. In a way, I was. Rachel texted at 7 a.m. You ready? I texted back. Yes. My phone buzzed again. Group chat. Family. Mom. Can't wait to see everyone tonight. This is going to be the most beautiful day of Vanessa's life. I turned my phone off. At 10 a.m., I went to Staples, printed 5 copies of the evidence packet, picked up the USB drive with the PowerPoint. At noon, I drove to Riverside Country Club. The venue was chaos. White tents being erected, florists carrying bouquets, a wedding planner barking orders into a headset. I walked up to the coordinator, a woman in her 40s with a clipboard. Hi, I'm Lena Chen, sister of the bride. I'm giving a toast tonight. Can I test the AV system? She smiled. Of course. Right this way. She led me into the reception hall. It was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, a stage at the front with a microphone and projector screen. Perfect. How do I connect? I asked. She showed me the HDMI port. Just plug in and it'll display automatically. Do you need help with slides? No, I've got it. Thank you. She left. I stood alone in the empty ballroom. In 8 hours, this room would hold 200 people. Mom, Dad, Vanessa, every relative who'd watched me be humiliated at graduation. I plugged in the USB. The projector flickered to life. Slide 1 appeared on the screen. Identity theft. A timeline. I smiled. I left the venue at 1 p.m. and drove to Rachel's apartment. She was already dressed, navy dress, heels, hair curled. You look like you're about to ruin someone's life, she said. I am. We went over the plan one last time. I'll set up my phone on the back table, Rachel said, angled toward the stage. It'll capture everything. What if someone notices? They won't. Everyone will be watching you. I nodded. At 4 p.m., we left. The drive to Riverside Country Club took 30 minutes. We didn't talk. Rachel played music, something instrumental and calming. I stared out the window and thought about the $15 bill. It was still in my glove compartment. I'd kept it. Evidence. We arrived at 5:45 p.m. The parking lot was already full. Valets were directing cars. Guests in gowns and suits were walking toward the entrance. I parked near the back exit, keys in my pocket. Exit strategy. Rachel squeezed my hand. You've got this. I know. We walked inside. The reception hall was breathtaking. Candlelight, flowers everywhere. A jazz quartet playing softly. Guests were mingling. Champagne flowed. I saw my parents immediately. Mom in a lavender gown, Dad in a tuxedo. Both of them smiling, shaking hands, accepting congratulations. They didn't see me. Not yet. Rachel and I found our table. Table 12, near the back. Good, Rachel whispered. We can slip out fast. At 6:15, Vanessa and Derek made their entrance. Everyone applauded. Vanessa looked radiant white gown, hair in perfect curls, diamond earrings catching the light. The dress cost $4,100. charged to my credit. I felt nothing. Dinner was served at 7 p.m. I didn't eat. Rachel nudged me. You need to eat something. I can't. At 7:45, the wedding planner took the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now hear from the father of the bride. Dad stood, walked to the stage, gave a speech about Vanessa's childhood, her accomplishments, how proud he was. 200 people applauded. I didn't. Next was the maid of honor, then Derek's best man. At 8:10, the wedding planner spoke again. And now a special toast from the bride's sister, Lena Chen. Mom's head snapped toward me. I stood, walked to the stage. Every eye in the room followed me. I reached the microphone, plugged in the USB. The projector screen flickered. Slide 1 appeared. Identity theft. A timeline. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I looked at my parents. Mom's face drained of color. Dad stood halfway out of his chair. I gripped the microphone. And I began. I'm not here to toast. My voice echoes through the ballroom. 200 faces turned toward me. I'm here to expose identity theft. The room goes silent. Not polite ceremony silent, stunned silent. Mom stands. Lena, what are you? Sit down. My voice is steel. She sits. I advance to the next slide. Capital One Platinum Card. Primary cardholder. Linda M. Chen. Authorized user. Lena M. Chen. Unauthorized. Balance. $8,412.37. My mother, Linda Chen, opened 3 fraudulent credit accounts in my name. Murmurs. Whispers. I don't stop. Over the past 18 months, she stole $14,412. Next slide. A scanned signature. Mom's handwriting. Looped and unmistakable. She forged my signature on applications, used my social security number, listed my parents' address as the billing location. Dad stands. Lena, this is not the time. When is the time, Dad? My voice cracks. When you gave Vanessa $150,000 and gave me $15? When you told me to be grateful? When was I supposed to talk about the fact that you stole my identity to pay for this wedding? Silence. Absolute silence. Next slide. Bridal Elegance Boutique, $4,100. I point to Vanessa. That dress? Charged to my credit. Vanessa's face goes white. Next slide. Tiffany & Co., $2,890. That ring? My credit. Next slide. Island Dreams Travel, $1,422. Honeymoon upgrade? My credit. I look at Mom. She's crying. I feel nothing. While I worked 30-hour weeks at MIT, while I survived on ramen and slept 4 hours a night, you were shopping. With my name? My future. My credit. Next slide. Credit score. Before. 720. After. 512. You destroyed my credit. I can't get approved for apartments, car loans, jobs run credit checks. I've been denied 3 times because of you. Someone in the crowd gasps. I click to the next slide. Police report. Case #20205 to 4,471. Detective Harris, Financial Crimes Unit. Status. Under investigation. I filed a police report 3 weeks ago. The Denver Police Department is investigating. My attorney, Mark Morrison, is here tonight. I gesture to the back of the room. Mark stands, nods. More gasps. Mom is sobbing now. Lena, please. I'm not finished. Next slide. Handwriting analysis report. Conclusion. Signatures do not match. Forgery confirmed. The DA's office received this report yesterday. They're moving forward with charges. Dad's face goes gray. Charges? He whispers. Identity theft is a felony in Massachusetts. Wire fraud, credit fraud. You could go to prison, Mom. The room erupts. People talking. Phones coming out. Guests standing. I raise my voice. You gave Vanessa $150,000 at my graduation. You gave me $15. You told me to be grateful. I pull the $15 bill from my pocket. Hold it up. I kept it. Evidence. Mom is shaking. We were going to pay you back. When? My voice breaks. When were you going to tell me you'd been stealing from me for 18 months? When were you going to admit that every time you called asking if I was having credit problems, you were checking to see if I'd noticed? She doesn't answer. Can't answer. I look at Vanessa. She's crying into Derek's shoulder. Vanessa, did you know? She looks up, tears streaming. Know what? That Mom used my identity to pay for your wedding? No. I swear, I didn't. No. You never asked where the money came from? Silence. $150,000 for your wedding. $150,000 for your down payment. You never questioned it? Vanessa looks at Mom. Mom looks away. Oh my God, Vanessa whispers. I turn back to the crowd. I didn't come here to ruin Vanessa's wedding. I came here because this is the only place my parents couldn't run, couldn't hide, couldn't pretend. I click to the final slide. Enjoy the reception. I hope it was worth $14,412 of my future. I unplug the USB. The screen goes dark. I step away from the microphone. The ballroom is chaos. Guests shouting, phones filming, Dad's law partners standing, faces twisted in shock. Mom is collapsed in her chair, sobbing. Dad is frozen. Vanessa is staring at them like she's seeing them for the first time. I walk off the stage. Rachel meets me at the edge of the room. Let's go, she whispers. We walk toward the exit. Behind us, I hear Dad shouting. Lena! Lena! Wait! I don't turn around. We reach the door. Push through. The night air hits my face. Cool. Clean. Free. Rachel and I walk to my car in silence. I unlock it. Get in. Sit there. Hands on the steering wheel. Rachel slides into the passenger seat. You okay? I think about it. Mom's sobs. Dad's face. Vanessa's shock. 200 witnesses. The truth finally spoken. Yeah, I say. I'm okay. I start the engine. Drive away. In the rearview mirror, I see the country club lights. Vanessa's wedding. Paid for with my stolen identity. I don't look back again. I didn't sleep that night. Rachel and I went back to her apartment, ordered pizza, sat on her couch in silence while her phone exploded with notifications. It's already online, she said quietly, scrolling. Someone posted the video. How many views? 40,000, and climbing. By midnight, it was 340,000. By 2 a.m., it was trending on 3 platforms. My phone, which I'd turned off after leaving the reception, had 127 missed calls when I finally powered it back on at 3 a.m. 47 from Mom, 32 from Dad, 18 from Vanessa, the rest from relatives. I didn't listen to the voicemails. I texted Detective Harris instead. Evidence went public tonight. Wedding reception. 200 witnesses. Video is viral. Thought you should know. He responded at 7 a.m. Saw the video. DA's office is expediting the case. We'll be in touch. At 9 a.m., Rachel made coffee and sat across from me. Your Aunt Jessica called me, she said. She wants you to know she's on your side. She said half the family is furious at your parents. What about the other half? Rachel hesitated. They're saying you should have handled it privately. I laughed, bitter and sharp. I tried private. They gave me $15. Rachel nodded. That's what Jessica told them. By noon, the video had 1.8 million views. The comments were split. This is the most justified call-out I've ever seen. She ruined her sister's wedding. Family issues should stay private. Identity theft is a crime. The parents deserve prison. I closed the app. That afternoon, Mark Morrison called. Lena. I saw the video. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Don't apologize. That was the most effective evidence presentation I've seen in 20 years. The DA called me this morning. They're filing charges next week. My chest tightened. What does that mean? It means your mother will be formally charged with identity theft. Arraignment within 30 days. She'll likely take a plea deal to avoid trial. And if she doesn't, then we go to court. And with that video as evidence, we'll win. I thanked him and hung up. 24 hours after the wedding, my phone buzzed one more time. A text from Vanessa. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I stared at it for 10 minutes. Then I blocked her number. The legal process moved faster than I expected. Within a week, the DA's office filed formal charges against Lena Chen. Identity theft, Class 4 felony, wire fraud, and credit fraud. The arraignment was scheduled for September 15th. I didn't attend. Mark represented me. He called afterward. Your mother pleaded not guilty. Her public defender is arguing family financial arrangements and claiming you gave verbal permission. That's a lie. We know. The handwriting analysis. The fact that you were living in Boston, the wedding vendor charges it all, contradicts her story. The judge saw through it immediately. Over the next 4 months, I watched my family disintegrate from a distance. Detective Harris kept me updated. Mom's bank accounts were frozen pending investigation. Dad's law firm, embarrassed by the viral video and the criminal charges, quietly let him go. They called it early retirement. Everyone knew the truth. In October, Vanessa filed for separation from Derek. The marriage lasted 14 months. I heard through Aunt Jessica that Derek's family had seen the video and pressured him to leave. They didn't want to be associated with fraud, Jessica said. I felt nothing about it. By November, Mom's legal options were running out. The evidence was overwhelming. 47 pages of documentation, video testimony from the wedding, bank records, forged signatures. Mark called in late November. She's taking a plea deal. What's the deal? 18 months probation, $14,412 in restitution paid directly to you, 200 hours of community service. And she has to plead guilty to identity theft on the record. No prison time? First offense, white-collar crime. The DA felt probation was appropriate given her age and the restitution agreement. Part of me wanted to fight it, wanted her to go to prison. But another part, the exhausted part, just wanted it over. I'll accept the deal, I said. The plea hearing was December 10th. This time, I went. I sat in the back of the courtroom with Rachel and Aunt Jessica. Mom stood at the defendant's table in a gray suit, looking small and old. Dad sat behind her in the gallery, staring at his hands. Judge Reyes reviewed the plea agreement. Mrs. Chen, do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are admitting to identity theft? Mom's voice was barely audible. Yes, Your Honor. Do you acknowledge that you opened fraudulent credit accounts using your daughter's personal information without her knowledge or consent? A pause. Yes. And do you agree to pay $14,412 in restitution over the next 26 months? Yes. The judge signed the order. Sentencing is as follows. 18 months supervised probation, $14,412. Restitution at $554 per month, 200 hours community service, and a 3-year restraining order prohibiting contact with the victim. I exhaled. 3-year restraining order. Mom turned around. Our eyes met across the courtroom. She looked broken. I looked away. After the hearing, Mark walked me to my car. How do you feel? He asked. I don't know yet. That's normal. Give yourself time. I nodded. What happens now? You'll start receiving restitution payments next month. I'll monitor compliance. If she misses a payment, we go back to court. In the meantime, the credit bureaus should start removing the fraudulent accounts within 60 days. And my credit score? It'll recover. 12 to 18 months, you'll be back to 700 plus. I thanked him. got in my car. Sat there. It was over. The legal battle, the exposure, the fight. Over. I called Rachel. It's done, I said. How do you feel? Tired. Good tired or bad tired? I thought about it. Good tired. The family split was immediate and brutal. Aunt Jessica, Uncle Tom, and 4 cousins sided with me. They'd seen the evidence, watched the video, understood what had been done. Dad's brother and 2 family friends sided with my parents, called me vindictive, said I'd gone too far. Family handles things privately, they said. I blocked all of them. Vanessa tried to reach out 3 more times over the following months. Emails. Letters. Even showed up at my apartment once. I didn't answer the door. Rachel stood with me on the other side, listening to Vanessa cry in the hallway. I didn't know, Lena. Please, you're my sister. Rachel squeezed my hand. I stayed silent. Vanessa left after 20 minutes. I never heard from her again. By the new year, 8 months after graduation, the family structure had solidified. My side, Aunt Jessica, Uncle Tom, their kids, and maternal grandmother. Their side, Vanessa, Dad's brother, a handful of enablers. Neutral casualties. 3 cousins who chose not to pick sides and faded into silence. Mom and Dad, isolated and disgraced, stayed together in their house. Dad worked an insurance-adjusting job, making $52,000, a third of his previous salary. Mom worked retail at Target, folding clothes in the same store where I'd bought my graduation dress. I heard this through Jessica. I didn't ask for updates. She offered them anyway, thinking I'd want closure. I didn't need closure from them. I needed distance. Christmas came. I spent it with Jessica's family. We cooked dinner together, exchanged small gifts, watched movies. It was quiet, simple. Nothing like the chaotic Christmases of my childhood. It was better. On Christmas night, Jessica handed me an envelope. This came to my house. I think your mom sent it. Inside was a card, Hallmark, generic. I'm sorry for everything. I hope one day you can forgive me. Mom. I handed it back to Jessica. Throw it away. She did. It's been 3 years since that wedding reception. 3 years since I stood on a stage and exposed the people who were supposed to protect me. I'm 25 now. Sitting in my 1-bedroom apartment in Cambridge, not the studio in Alston, but a real apartment with a kitchen and a bedroom and windows that let in actual sunlight. I can afford it now. After the restitution payments finished all $14,412, paid over 26 months, I used the money to repair my credit and build an emergency fund. It took 18 months, but my credit score climbed from 512 to 712. I got approved for my first real credit card, my first car loan, my first apartment lease without a cosigner. I finished my master's degree at MIT Biomedical Engineering, same as undergrad. Graduated summa cum laude. Again. This time, no one missed the ceremony. Aunt Jessica, Uncle Tom, their 4 kids, Rachel, and my maternal grandmother filled an entire row. They cheered when I crossed the stage, took photos, threw a small party at Jessica's house afterward. It wasn't the family I was born into, but it was the family I chose, and they chose me back. I got a job 6 months ago, robotics engineer at Boston Dynamics, the company that makes those dancing robots you see on the internet. I design prosthetic limbs controlled by neural interfaces. It's the kind of work I used to dream about during those 30-hour weeks in college. I make $98,000 a year. I have a 401k, health insurance, paid time off. I published 2 research papers this year. I'm presenting at an international conference in Prague next spring. I'm dating someone, Marcus, a software engineer I met at a work mixer 2 years ago. He's kind, patient. He knows my story, knows what my family did. He doesn't try to fix it, doesn't pressure me to reconcile. He just listens. We've been together for 2 years. We're not rushing anything. No talk of marriage or moving in together. Just being, learning each other, building something healthy. It's the first relationship I've had where I don't feel like I'm performing. Therapy helped with that. I started seeing Dr. Patel 6 months after the wedding, every week at first, then every other week. Now I go once a month maintenance sessions, she calls them. She helped me understand that what my parents did wasn't about me. It was about them. Their values, their choices, their failures. I didn't deserve $15. I didn't deserve to have my identity stolen. I didn't deserve to be humiliated in front of my relatives. And I didn't deserve to feel guilty for exposing it. Dr. Patel taught me how to say no without guilt, how to set boundaries, how to recognize toxic behavior before it destroys me. I'm still learning, but I'm better at it now. I haven't spoken to my parents in 3 years. The restraining order expired last year. I didn't renew it. Didn't need to. They haven't tried to contact me. I heard again, through Jessica, that Mom still works at Target. Dad's still at the insurance company. They're struggling financially. The restitution payments wiped out their savings. Dad's early retirement from the law firm meant no pension. They sold the house last year, moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in a cheaper part of town. Vanessa lives in Arizona now, divorced, working as a marketing coordinator. We're not in contact. I don't know if she ever understood the full scope of what our parents did. I don't know if she feels guilty or just embarrassed. I don't think about her much anymore. Sometimes people ask me, coworkers, acquaintances, new friends about my family, "Are you close with your parents?" I've learned to answer simply, "No, we're estranged." Most people don't push. If they do, I say, "They did something I couldn't forgive. I chose myself instead." That usually ends the conversation. Rachel's still my best friend. She's in law school now, Harvard, naturally, and we get dinner every week. She jokes that I inspired her to specialize in family law. "I want to help people like you," she says. I tell her she will. Aunt Jessica calls every Sunday. We talk about work, life, her kids. She never brings up Mom or Dad unless I ask. And I almost never ask. On the 3-year anniversary of the wedding, August 12th, I did something I'd been putting off. I framed the $15 bill. It hangs in my apartment now, next to my MIT diplomas, bachelor's and master's, side by side. The bill is mounted on black matting with a small plaque underneath. "Be grateful, L. Chen, May 18th. People who visit ask about it. I tell them it's a reminder." "Of what?" they ask. "That I survived. I won't lie and say I'm completely healed. Some days are harder than others. Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, weddings. But I've built a life I'm proud of. A life I earned. Not with their money. Not with their approval. With my own hands. I have a career I love, friends who show up, a partner who respects me, a future that belongs to me. And I have something they can never take away. The truth. I told the truth in front of 200 people. I told it with evidence and dates and dollar amounts. I told it knowing it would destroy my relationship with my family. And I'd do it again. Because the alternative, staying silent, accepting the $15, pretending they hadn't stolen from me, would have destroyed me instead. I chose myself. And 3 years later, I'm still choosing myself. Every single day. The $15 bill catches the light from my apartment window. I look at it sometimes, when I'm drinking coffee in the morning or working late at night. It reminds me of who I was. And who I became. They wanted me to be grateful for scraps. I gave them something to think about instead. If you're listening to this story, maybe you see yourself in it. Maybe someone in your family has stolen from you money, opportunity, peace. Maybe they've told you to be grateful for less than you deserve. If that's you, I want you to know. You don't owe loyalty to people who see you as a resource. You don't owe silence to people who hurt you. And you don't owe forgiveness to people who never apologized. Protecting yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. This is Achiever Betrayed, where we tell the stories of people who earned their success and fought to keep it. If this story resonated with you, share it. Someone in your life might need to hear it. And remember, Your achievements are yours. No one can take them from you, not even family.